for Fredericton Southern, Leader Vispardi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It strikes me that there is a real need in this legislature to have a process to deal with legislation that has been on the books for a long time and never implemented. The current process is housekeeping, which normally causes acts that are older than 9 years old to simply be eliminated. The government House leaders brought forward a motion to do the other side of this, which is to prevent them from being eliminated this time around. There are good reasons sometimes why legislation doesn't go forward and ultimately gets eliminated, and sometimes there are not good reasons. I guess my point, Mr. Speaker, is we have no real mechanism outside of a brief debate here without the details in front of us, and without the statutes in front of us, without the minister's motion in front of us, or the House leader's motion in front of us, to actually determine what warrants keeping and what warrants eliminating. Some of this legislation is old, very old, and it's sat there for some reason for a long time. Some of it, like the Petroleum Act, Mr. Speaker, actually was passed by this House during the years of Premier Sean Graham's government, and the government of David Alward chose not to implement it. There was no moratorium in place on shale gas exploitation in those 4 years. So the rationale, to me, isn't logical that the government House leader gave for keeping that piece of legislation. So my simple point is Mr. Speaker, that we don't have adequate mechanisms in this House to deal with the substance of legislation that is about to be either removed or kept based on this process that has been long-standing, and perhaps that's something for the Committee on Procedures, Privileges and Legislative Officers to look at. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.